Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Sulky Show. It is the first weekend in October. I don't know what I'm doing here. I should be at Vincennes. I'm supposed to be at Vincennes tonight, Longchamp tomorrow, and Sunday. I feel totally depressed. You need to entertain me, folks, the good folks on the Sulky Show. I want to be feeling French. It's the Arc de Triomphe this weekend. And I think the only bit of French on our show is probably Sarah Thomas supping red wine. But look at this. Just look at this. Tonight, it's an all-star cast. Of course, we've got the one and only Sarah Thomas ahead of the STAGBI Mayor's Golden Girls weekend at York. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good, thank you very much, Darren. Very much looking forward to tomorrow. Not, by the way, it's not French red wine. It's possibly New Zealand red wine, which doesn't really help your French theme. But we have got French trots this weekend. But yes, big mayor's race this weekend. This is STAGBI's baby. I'm looking forward to it.
And apologies in advance. I've picked up the race card from York, and it just says STAGBI Mayor's Final. This should read STAGBI Mayor's Golden Girls Final or whatever. Group 1. Group 1. Doesn't even say Group 1 on the race card. Apologies.
It's okay. I've spoken to Gwennon, and Gwennon said it's okay. Worse things have happened at sea was the exact phrase she used. So don't lose any sleep over it. We'll just plug it tomorrow really hard on the live stream. Well,
I've had a message from Gwennon, and to quote Gwennon, that's shown STAGBI in its place then. Thanks, BHRC, but nobody has died. So tell them off and move on. Thanks, Gwennon. And look at this tonight. Look at this. We have got El Presidente himself, the one and only John Towe, president of STAGBI. How are you, John?
I'm very good, thank you. Yes. Still learning the job, so it's a long curve, but it's good. I'm enjoying it.
Aren't we all learning the job? I'm doing it in the dark. And look at this. Look at this. Look at the fine array of talent we've got on the show tonight. It's not Shannon Flanagan, as it says on the caption. It's the one and only James Haythornthwaite. How are you, James?
Good, thank you. Yeah, very good.
I love you. I love the setting. It's a beautiful house you got there. Is that the cellar?
Yeah, you put some flowers next to me for effect. Yeah.
Bottles of wine in the background there. Bit of French wine there, red wine.
Yeah, a couple of empty ones. Yeah.
Champagne. Yeah. And Richard Haythornthwaite. Richard, how are you, Richard?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, you haven't got indigestion?
No, I'll finish.
Folks, that Richard has just devoured his fish and chips.
Just finished work.
Just finished work. Yeah, all right, okay. I don't know what work's all about. I haven't worked for about 30 years.
I didn't know he worked in a pub.
Sorry?
I didn't know he worked in a pub.
Right, weekend's racing. We've got plenty going on. We've got York, the Golden Girls Day at York on Saturday. First race 11 o'clock. Really good card. The card also features. We'll get this plug in now, Sarah. The Smart Bookmakers Handicap Heaton Final. 9 races on the card at York. First race 11 o'clock, and then on Sunday the show moves on to Corbiewood. First race 2 o'clock, and Tear Prince at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon. And the news is, despite Tear Prince being in that lockdown area in that part of North Wales, racing is on, but it is licensed holders only at Tear Prince on Sunday. El Presidente, John Towe, live from his office. That's where it all happens, is it, El Presidente? That is that the engine room of STAGBI?
No, actually, that's probably the engine room with Gwennon on the end of it. Yeah. And Sarah and Ryan and all the other directors. That's where it works. I just look the part here, but I don't do a great lot, really.
So tell me, El Presidente, do you hold this position for 12 months, or until they just boot you off the top table?
2 years if I'm lucky, or unlucky, depends how you look at it.
So they could be booted. Gwennon could boot you off before then.
Yeah, Gwennon, Sarah could say I've had enough. He's got to go now, kind of thing. But
right, okay.
Up to now, it hasn't happened. But...
Right. And Sarah, what is your position? I mean, that's not a rude question. That's not a rude question. I know we haven't got to the
Pre-water,
water.
yeah, I was gonna say we're pre-watershed, so we'll not discuss what position I'm in. I'm on the sofa, thank you very much. I'm just the director. I'm a director. I was president before John. It was me that actually nominated John, I think, at the AGM to be the president-elect. So he's got me to thank for that. So I've been where John is, and it's challenging at times, I think, being not just a president but a director of STAGBI. It is challenging because we do have problems that arise, but it's a good group of people to work with. So, you know, we muddle on through and we have productive meetings and we're all moving in the same direction. So that in itself makes the job a lot easier.
Now, tell me about the role of STAGBI, because it's not just harness racing, is it?
No, me or Sarah?
Well, El Presidente.
Well, basically, you know, we look after the breeding side, the passports, make sure everything is as it says it should be, the breeding is correct, and the passports are right. And when exports come in or go out, they come in with, you know, we make sure they're done right when they come in or go out. In a nutshell, really, that it is.
But it's not just hard. It's all breeds that STAGBI are dealing with.
Yeah, we deal with the purebreds, the fullbreds, the partbreds. There's talk now. We're looking at bringing in a sort of a retired section, and you know, but we also look at them after racing as well. Try and promote them when they've not finished racing. If they're not good enough to race, we try and, you know, promote that side to bring the breed forward, to get people interested in them as a other job rather than just racing.
So basically, for anyone watching this show from other countries, you are the keeper of the stud book.
Yes, yeah, that's what we do.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
And tell me about, you know, the future of STAGBI, your relationship with, you know, with the BHRC.
Well, it's good. Hopefully it can keep improving. We keep working with you. It's the same, you know, with Latrobe. We work with those for the French horses that come in. That's getting more and more popular. More and more horses coming in. So it's an important side of it. You know, there might be more horses going out to America this year. We deal with that side as well. It's all, we have to work together, and with Ireland, to bring them all together so that wherever a horse is going to, whether it's coming to us or going out from us, the paperwork's right and everything goes right with it, basically.
And over the last few years, guys, Sarah and John, we've seen tremendous promotion, and we've seen the races go from strength to strength as well, for the mares races. You know, culmination tomorrow, of course, of the Group 1 Golden Girls final. It's so important, isn't it, to promote these opportunities for the race mares, who of course will become future brood mares.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got the card in front of me now, and you look at that race card, and there's only one that's only been on Corbiewood. Everything else has gone sub 2 minutes. You know, 10 years ago, that would have been unheard of, especially for mares. It just shows the class of breeding that we're producing. And, you know, you could pick that race up and put it anywhere in the world, and it would not be out of place. That it wouldn't.
And Sarah,
I was going to jump in there and just say as well, I think Hugh O'Neill touched on something, Hugh O'Neill Jr. last week, when he got interviewed by Craig at York. And Craig sort of said, you know, what is the plan for Air Empress? You know, she set a new lifetime mark at York last week, having previously set a new lifetime mark before that in the STAGBI Broodmares Heat back in July. And, you know, he said, what's the plan with Air Empress now for the future? You know, is she going to go for breeding? And he said, no, we're going to bring her back in next year, all being well, if she gets through a good winter, and we'll race her again, because these races are here for her. And you start to look at the age of some of the mares that are racing in these races across the country, and you start to realise that these aren't, some of these fillies have come through the stakes kind of races at 2 and 3 and 4, and instead of just finishing their careers at 4 and going then to be bred from at 5, they're starting to race on through 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9 years old before they start breeding. And whilst that maybe sounds counterproductive from STAGBI's point of view, because we're not getting these mares put in foal straight away. So, you know, we're not necessarily getting replacement horses coming through as quickly. We're not generating revenue for STAGBI as well either. So if it was a business we were running, we're not running it very effectively by trying to keep these horses racing. But equally, it just allows these horses to be able to set new lifetime marks. They're getting a better CV. The quality then, when they do become brood mares, means that when you pick up a sale catalogue for York, or not Brightwell's anymore, but any other kind of sales catalogue, and you look through at the races that the dam of the foal or the yearling or the 2-year-old has won, you will see Group 1 races. You will see STAGBI Future Broodmares heats. They're the kind of races that people want to kind of brag about that their horses have won. The standard is absolutely incredible, and you know, Gwennon in particular, I think, should be really proud of it, because it was something that it was really her baby at the start. And it's just, as time's gone on, we've just developed it. And last year, obviously, was the first year we had the final, which was something that Ryan O'Neill felt really strongly about, and a couple of others really thought that it needed to culminate in something. It's been a difficult year as well. Obviously, you know, racing across the country has been interrupted by so much, but those hard tracks were where those mares races were being held previously anyway. The fact that we've been able to hold as many legs as we have this year under the circumstances has been really, really good. And we've got a really, really good quality final now tomorrow, which I genuinely am looking forward to. For me, it is the feature race on the card. I know we've got finals and high grade races as well, but when you look at the quality of the mares in that race in particular, you know, like John said, races across the world, that wouldn't look out of place. And then you consider that Olivia Camden was the winner last year, and she's on a winning streak over in America right now as well. So, you know, these mares, they are potentially world-class mares. I'm not saying they're world champion mares, but they are potentially world-class mares.
And that's a great link to our two special guests from the Haythornthwaite family, Richard and James, because you're both driving in the big race tomorrow. Richard, you're driving Reed's Passion, and James, you're driving Reed's Nightlife. Guys, you know, two mares that need no introduction. They've both raced at the very highest level and won their big races. If I could just start with you, Richard, Reed's Passion, just tell me about the form that Reed's Passion's been in this season and your thoughts about tomorrow's race.
I prefer a slightly better draw if I could, really, but she maybe hasn't been quite in the form that she was two years ago, but she's still knocking in decent sub 2 minute times most times she goes out. She's going to need a good bit of luck tomorrow to be like looking at what's in the front line with Newtown Jodie and Air Empress. She's going to need a lot of luck to be factoring in to the top 3 really. But yeah, from a driver's point of view, she's still going relatively good. Like,
but she's taking you to the top table. I mean, you know, got to turn the clock back just a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
You know, how good was it at Musselburgh? That experience.
Probably ask James about that one. Like.
Well, you drive.
Awkward.
Start again. You can tell everything else today. Sorry.
Can we edit out of this? Or?
No, we can't.
No, but hang on. No, Darren, you're not technically wrong. You did win the.
Yeah, no. The first time round was me. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got the Friday night final, so you could talk about that one.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
You got the Hurricane, but not the famous.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I was at Vincennes. Yeah. So you both. I mean, look, you both had your fair share of experiences with Reed's Passion. And talking about Reed's Passion, Rich, you said that you felt that perhaps she hasn't been in the form of old this year overall. But you know, talking to connections, Mr. Mycock, Sally T-Boone, are they planning to continue racing with her next year?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah. I think the biggest problem we've had this year is just the draw. Every time she goes out, she's drawn, well, usually 10, or 8, 9, 10, which when you've got the likes of Newtown Jodie or Air Empress inside you or in the front line, you've so much work in front of you. It's unreal just to keep up with them, never mind trying to pass them. So
yeah,
that's it. It's like James can say, Reed's Nightlife's in a very similar sort of boat. Like, you know, the draw's so stacked up against you.
And you're drawn alongside Richard tomorrow, James, with Reed. Tell us about Reed's Nightlife's form this year, because let's face fact, Nightlife is a multiple track record winner.
Yeah, she's actually been in good form this year. She's probably been as good as ever. She had a couple of wins, a couple of nice wins, and a couple of good places as well. She's second behind her Empress early on in the year in a mare's race, and I think that was the day she sort of found her form again. Won a couple since. It's going to be her last race tomorrow. She will be going to stud after it. So we were hoping to draw one, lead out, and go out on a high, but. Granted, she drew 8 last year and finished 3rd. If someone offered me now that now, I'll probably take that. And I think 3rd in a race as prestigious as that looks great on the record, and they're going to stud. So if she could run a good race, but like Richard said, it's very difficult to picture a way into it and a way. I know I've been sucked into driving both ways in these mares races, where you've sat it back and tried to pick a few off late, or you've gone and sat first or second over and try and keep up and try and keep going as long as you can, and the result at the end seems to be the same. You finish about midfield and very tired. But if we could just run on for a place, I'd be over the moon with that.
And looking at tomorrow's makeup of the race, guys, I'm just drawn to Newtown Jodie and her draw. But what are your thoughts on the race tomorrow? Who do you see as being the likely winner if it's not one of you guys?
Yeah, I think Newtown Jodie takes an awful lot of beating from there. She's got great gate speed, and once she's in front, like you've seen her go 50-60s round there, she probably won't need to. But if she can get to the front, sits and hold on to, she'll turn a foot where if you go and challenge her, she's probably just going to keep you parked. If you sit and late turn to a sprint, she can out sprint you. I think I'd love to be in Vicky's position tomorrow, but I think it's tough to see her getting beat.
Yeah, from our point of view, like as a driver in the second line, you could kind of do with Air Empress or Lion's Queen at least trying to go forward to gain a position just to put a bit of pressure on Jodie, maybe. But as far as I can see, Jodie's the one to beat.
Sarah, did I see that you've compiled a form guide on this race tomorrow?
No, it wasn't actually me, and I had to text Gwen and apologise. Chico had done me a little preview, which I only got round to editing this evening, and as I posted it, within about 15 minutes, Gwen then posted her preview that she'd done, which included a lot more statistics and breeding and that sort of thing. So I'm sorry, Chico, when you watch this, I had to take yours down because it just looked terrible that Gwen and me had cross-posted. So it wasn't me. I've not done my research, but the thing is that I've watched all these mares races. I've watched the replays from Amma Valley. Obviously, I've been at Corbiewood to watch those in person. I've been at Tir Princeton and York as well. So I've got a fairly good idea of the form of all the mares coming into this. When the draw was getting done, I was actually in work, but I lit up on my phone that Craig was doing the draw, so I had to interrupt what I was doing because I desperately wanted to watch it. For me, it was such a big thing to just sit and watch to see where these mares drew. When Passion and Nightlife drew 7 and 8, that disappointed me because I was so desperate to make it a really, really competitive race where I felt like a lot of the strong challengers in the race, just if they got a good draw, it would turn it into something where it could go any which way. The way that things have panned out, personally, I see it more as a 2-horse event. I hate saying that because usually what happens then is that somebody comes out of the clouds and proves me wrong. But I do see it as a kind of being 2 kind of market favourites, one probably more than the other. James and Richard mentioned Newtown Jodie. I think her and Air Empress probably will now be the 2 betting favourites in the race, which if you just mix the draw up a little bit, I think it would have a massive impact on how people viewed the race panning out altogether. Blue Titan didn't finish in the top 10, coincidentally. Blue Titan was one of the mares outside the top 10 that came into it after horses were declared non-runners. Tea Time Preacher, obviously she's gone away to Canada, so Blue Titan has kind of filled in the gap. Willie Greenhorn Senior, who owns and trains the horse, he initially wasn't sure if he wanted to go in the race, and then within about 10 minutes was back on saying, yeah, do you know what, this is the first time that this mare's going to get a chance to go to York. I want to see how she goes on a half-mile track. For him then to get the 1 draw probably has kind of made the challenge a little easier for him. I think Blue Titan probably will find herself under a lot of pressure on the gate with some of those mares alongside her, but it's nice that there's a connection there that's just said, do you know what, maybe these mares are too good for me on this day, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. And I wouldn't be surprised if Willie Greenhorn and Blue Titan try and put a bit of speed into the race, as well as Newtown Jody and obviously Air Empress as well on the outside. But yeah, like I say, for me, it's a 2-horse. I think there's 2 front runners in this. And I know people will favour Newtown Jody because she has got the better of the 2 draws. But I spoke to Hugh O'Neill in the week and I said, look, 4's not great. I think he was maybe looking for a 1, 2 or 3. But you have to bear in mind that last week he went 1:58 and 5, parked the full mile, which borderline logic defying, quite frankly. But on that occasion, Newtown Jody was behind him and had to try and come around him and couldn't. This time, she's going to get the easier of the 2 trips. So she probably will end up being the betting favourite. I think when Charles did his preview, he talked about Rees Nightlife in particular. She's a horse that if maybe they go really fast the first quarter, the first half, Rees Nightlife's the kind of mare that can finish really, really strong. And she may be, James has said they're like pick horses off, but if they do put a lot of speed into the race early, perhaps she might quite enjoy that. And Passion's obviously a great stayer anyway. So look, it's just going to be a great race and I can't wait to watch it. And whoever wins, well done to them. Obviously I've got my personal favourite, but any one of them is a worthy winner of the race anyway. So.
And you're 1, 2, 3 then? Come on, 1, 2, 3.
Do I have to go with head or heart?
Head.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna go. Oh, do you know what? Even if I say this now, absolute pelters on Messenger later on when this gets watched. Head says Newtown Jody, Air Empress, and Lion's Queen in 3rd. I'm sorry, Richard. It feels terrible saying that when 2 of the drivers are sitting there.
I don't know why you're turning up.
I don't like getting tipped anyway.
John,
I jinx people. I jinx people all the time. I jinxed Richard last week. I said Reese Passion was going to win last week. So that was, if I don't mention you, you'll do really well.
Thank you.
John, what's your take of the race?
Pretty much the same as Richard and James. You know, they've got a mountain to climb from where they are. It could turn out, you know, if Blue Titan goes out hard, that could change it all around for them. It's been known to happen before. I still think Newtown Jody's the favourite. I think Air Empress went a hell of a race last week. We know she's tough. We know she stays. For 3rd, I'm half inclined to think that Richard might just pick something off the 3rd. I think he might just come to death and pick something out of 3rd. Just having a slightly better draw than James, but it could be any of them.
Really looking forward to it. Crackerjack of a race. Guys, you've got more than the one drive tomorrow. Now, James, by the way, you've done your hair for tonight's show, I believe. Unlike
no, it's effortless.
Oh, unlike the
That's how I woke up.
Yeah.
What about mine?
Well, you've got that rugged look, Richard. You know, you're a man.
Thank you. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, you've been out there chiseling all day.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are we drinking, Sarah? Then where's this red wine from?
I think it's from New Zealand. Well, it's from my kitchen, actually. I can see the bottle, but the bottle's turned around, so I can't see the front of it. It's very nice.
Is that water or gin, Richard?
Water, that. Yeah.
And what are you on, Shannon?
I'm not. No, I just had a cup of tea.
And El Presidente?
I've just had a pint of cider before we started.
Cider. Hey, very rural, very rural.
First thing I found when I came in.
I'll tell you what, guys, can we go through your drives for the weekend? How about that? Let's go through your drives. I'm looking at York. Let's start at York. We'll do this race by race. Race 1, according to my race card, unless there are any changes, you're both involved in race 1. Made a novice pace. James, you're driving. You got an outside drive for Chick Armstrong, TJ Prime. Did you drive that last week?
Yeah, I drove it last week. I think it was a late driver change. Actually, I'd never driven it before, and from what I'd seen, it made a couple of breaks in its early starts and shown bits of speed. So we just changed a few things around in it and had a clear round and finished quite nicely. So I think it's still, he wants a couple more runs maybe to keep improving, but like if he could just pick up on where he finished last week, he'd go a little bit closer and hopefully get better week on week.
And Richard, you're sitting behind Oakwood Bandit. What can you tell us?
I think the form speaks for itself with that one. He has shown small bits of ability early on in the year in the workouts and that, but since we've got into races, we've had some serious difficulties with him. Like I don't know where we're at. Every time you think you've got him somewhere near being right, he goes out on the racetrack and fluffs his lines. Like, so I think being second line for him, out of everybody's way, will be the best place for him.
Right. Okay.
Positive.
On to the star makers. I don't think you're involved in the first trot. I think Papa Smurf is, but you two guys are not. But in the first heat of the star makers, James, you're in pole position with GD's King, and you're sitting in behind Richard with Air Elegance. So first of all, GD's King, who comes here on the back of that win last time. James.
Yeah, he's a lovely horse. He had a couple of starts. He was second in Breeders' Crown. I thought he were brilliant that night. He really was. And we took him to York for a novice race a week or 2 weeks later, I think it were. And Rich had to beat him with Air Elegance, but he paced rough the whole way. And he just didn't feel quite the same horse as the Breeders' Crown. So we took him home, had him blood tested, and it showed signs that he was sort of fighting off bits of things. And we eased him back. We planned on giving him a bit longer, but then a 2-horse race came up for Sire Stakes worth decent money. So we ran him in that, and luckily he didn't have too hard a race and he's come out of it well. So I just hope he'll be back to his Breeders' Crown form. If he is, then he's a nice chance, but we just have to see how he goes.
And Richard with Air Elegance, a horse that we know's got the ability.
Yeah, she's been running really consistently all year. Stay with the draw we've got and the draw GD's King's got. It's just a case of follow him as far as we can and keep up with him.
Yeah. And then moving on to the second heat, Rich, you're sitting behind Take Me to the Limit.
Yeah. He's been very consistent all year. Last time at Tia Prince, we had a really tough trip. Looked like a decent draw on paper before the race. We just got shuffled back the entire race, but he finished really well. If you look at the draw we've got tomorrow and the 2 horses, well, the horse in front of him and the one drawn 2, there should be quite a bit of speed on early, I would say. So we'll have to just go out as hard as we can following them and see where we come out of the sort of in the back straight. Like,
got a bit of a mixed bag in that race. We've got some nice young horses and some older horses, including the veteran next generation in the
which is as fast as any of them away. Like, so I would.
Yes, he showed no wanting to be turned out to grass, is he?
No.
And then later on the card, onto the novices, lads. You're both involved. Frisco Gotta Go and Colford Mission. James, first of all, Frisco Gotta Go. Your chances there?
Yeah, she's not without a chance. She's a nice filly. She's drawn free. She's quite good gate speed of her previous runs, and she's been consistent all year. She's run some good races, although it says she's finished 4th in them. She's run some very good miles in them 3-year-old stakes races. So she brings that form to the table. She should be somewhere about. She's a nice filly. She's the kind that seems to be getting better with age, and I think this will be her last race of the season. She'll go out to grass after this, but I'd look forward to her next year. I think she's a nice improving type.
Yeah. And you're trying for the Moore family then, Richard, the Colford Mission?
No, I don't think I am. I think it's been bought by Al Swinbank, this horse.
Oh, have it? Right, okay.
So I believe. Maybe
Right.
take that out with the office, but yeah.
Wonderful organised.
Yeah, I never sat behind it, so to be honest, I have no more idea than you have. That's about it.
Right, okay, fair enough. And then on to the high grade pace. again, another hot contest. James, you're partnering roller coaster.
Yeah, it's a very good race, and I think it's nearly fitting for like sort of a crockery goal. There's a couple of horses. Well, there's more than a couple. You can stake a claim for just about every horse in it. The second line's just about a free for all on its own. And the front line, they'll go well under 2 minutes if it wasn't for the rain tomorrow, I think. So it's gonna be very tough. From my point of view, I'm drawn 6, and I don't see where I'm probably going to get out from that draw for a while. But he's another consistent horse. He's run one bad race all year. I don't know where that one came from, but other than that, he's been right thereabouts, knocking on door every time. Had a couple of winners, and he's a lovely horse to drive. So that helps.
Jean Felds had a bit of fun this year with roller coaster and when the real Plan B turns up.
Yeah, she always, to be fair, she had a bit of fun for a few years now. They've been and she's bred them herself, so that makes it even more special. But they always seem to pick up a couple of wins every year for, and usually quite good ones. Like when Plan B does put his best foot forward, he's usually quite impressive. And then roller coaster is generally a more straightforward version of Plan B. It's a lot easier to get started and get settled anyway. But Plan B, when he's got his right head on, he's very good.
Yeah. Sarah, you've heard the thoughts from the two participants. Put the wine down, come on. Right. What horses are you looking forward to seeing on that York card tomorrow? We've been through the Golden Girls race. Some of the other highlights.
Well, I don't know about you, James, but would you? Well, maybe I should just ask you. Do you think your best chance of getting into the final, maybe winning the final tomorrow, would be with GD's King?
Be my only chance, I think.
Probably is your only chance. He is your best chance. I wasn't paying. I thought there was more than 2 heats as well. We skimmed through that. There is only 2 heats. Well, I think GD's King's in with a big shot. I think it's a really good draw in that heat, and I thought he actually went quite nicely last week. I know it was a 2-horse race, and you know, you can't always take a lot out of that. But I was quite impressed with the way he ran. I was very, very impressed with the night he ran at Tier Prince.
Yeah, I was very impressed with that run at Tier Prince.
Really showed up that night and caught a lot of people's eye, I think, at the time. So GD's King, I think, is a horse that is probably, if there was an anti-post kind of book being run, I think GD's King will probably be the favourite for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing him race. I think Special T runs in the second heat. Willie Greenhorn drives for Paul Johnson and Jonah Johnson. That's the first time Special T would have raced this year. So it'll be interesting to see what form he comes back with. Since changing stable. With the trots, I mean, I keep getting the trots wrong. Every week I keep getting the trots wrong. I never committed to anything last week. I did commit to Back-A-Tour, actually, in my tips still with Emma Langford. I had a feeling that Papa Smurf was getting pulled in for the job there for a reason, and I was right. I was very, very impressed with his drive there, actually, as well. You two have got a lot to learn from your father still.
A lot to learn, yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, the high grade pace. The high grade pace is a absolutely cracking race. Rocky Mambo, Meriton moving up have got a lot of traffic in front of them and good quality traffic. James has said they, sub 2 minute horses. There's a lot of horses that are in with a really, really strong chance in that race. So it's very competitive. So I wouldn't commit to a horse in that race. Although I thought Rocky Mambo went very well last week. So yeah, a couple of horses. GD's King, I'm interested to see. There's a couple of trotters as well. American Love. I'd like to see American Love back in the sulky now. I know he got disqualified last week in the saddle race, but I quite liked American Love in a qualifier or a workout earlier in the season. I'm not sure where the horse is taking so long to actually get out racing. I know it's in the Back-A-Tour, but I'd like to see that horse put in a clean run, and I think it is capable of doing it as well. I think maybe the saddle race maybe unsettled him a little bit, similar with Amadea de Jomar as well, who's not really known for galloping. Look, it's just a really, really strong card. It's nice to have a final. It's nice to have a separate high grade pace. Obviously, the mares race. There's basically something for everybody tomorrow. That's the best part. Whatever you're interested in is kind of something for everyone. So it just looks like a good competitive card once again.
And guys, Sarah touched Papa Smurf. I mean, he's been what an artist in the sulky. Just watching him drive these trotters this year. I mean, it's just been poetry in motion, hasn't it?
Masterclasses. Yeah.
I think he's really enjoying it again as well. He said a couple of weeks in a row now. He said just enjoying going racing again. And to Fair City, I think he drives for Matty and Joe Quinn a lot, and they're doing a great job with their horses. And that mixture with them, and then putting Dad on for a bit of experience, and he just seems to have got his mojo back, and he's really enjoying it. It's a pleasure to watch, actually.
Absolutely. I mean, guys, you know, obviously, he's been a great influence in the pair of you, you know, going forward as drivers. You know, what are your memories growing up watching him? I mean, did you always aspire to drive yourselves? I mean, Richard first. I mean, Richard, did you know, watching your dad as a youngster when you were a kid, did you think, yeah, I want to be doing that?
Yeah, pretty much did. Yeah, I'd say James was the opposite side of things, but yeah, I really always wanted to drive. Watching him win just driving the big races, like, I don't know. Once I got there, I sort of thought, this is where I want to be in all the top races, and yeah, pretty much just from watching him from the early stages, like when he'd win all the like Musselburgh and Sire Stage, British Crowns, you know, they were just the ones you wanted to be in.
And tell me about him, Richard, as a tutor. I mean, you know, is he a good tutor? I mean, you know, has he got the patience?
I think I might have tried it a few times in the past life, but yeah, I think he does have a certain level of patience. Yeah. But I definitely tried it when I was younger.
And James, I mean, your career path, I mean, it's just changed completely, because you started life off as a rugby league player.
Yeah, seems a long time ago now. Yeah, I never had aspirations. I didn't even like going racing when I was a kid.
You don't like horses?
No, I don't know if you could get me near a horse. But I did actually. I always like going to the big meetings. I always liked hearing Musselburgh, Tregarrans, the big meetings. I'd drag myself away for them, and I usually left and quite enjoyed them. And one of them, I did always like watch. If Dad had a winner, we all enjoyed it. Like, it made our. We used to love following him around and watching him win. And like Richie said, won some big races, and there was some great celebrations when we were kids. But yeah, they were never greatly part of my plan to start driving. Even when I finished rugby, I didn't finish rugby to get involved, really. Just I didn't have anything to do for 6 months, and next thing I knew, I was driving horses, and that was that.
So we're just bumming around way for 6 months?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. No what else to do, so I give it a go.
So you thought, I'll work with horses. I don't want a proper job.
Yeah, I've never had a proper job yet.
No. And what about your mum? I mean, you know, what sort of tutor is she? I mean, is she, you know, she is officially the trainer here. Let's not forget her.
She's tough, very tough.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
She does not mince her words.
Yeah. You could probably get away with it with your dad, but not your mum.
Yeah. I don't want to pass comment.
What's that, Dave?
I don't even want to pass comment on it.
She's Jenny's boss. Yeah, be careful.
No, she's good. She's a seriously good worker. She never stops. And she's actually, she does get down when things aren't going well, but it never stops her. She works equally as hard. If we're doing well or if we're doing badly, she gets up every day and works. So it's nice when you get a good day. I think she probably appreciates it more than any of us.
Your dad tells me she doesn't stop. In fact, he did say she's a nuisance, because during the winter he likes to sit back and watch the jump racing on the TV, and she's probably stripping the walls and painting, and expects Alan to be doing the same. And he wants to watch the 2 o'clock at Wetherby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, John, you were born into this game, El Presidente.
Yeah.
You know, I've got fond memories of your dad. I mean, your dad, you know, he was of the highest integrity, a steward for many years on the circuit. You know, what are your earliest memories?
Watching Grandad, learning with Grandad.
Of course, yes, absolutely.
When I first started driving, I'd come off, and yes, there'd be plenty of, you did that wrong, you should have done that. But yeah, you know, when we got it right, he knew we got it right, and he was over the moon. And there was no one better to have around you. Like there wasn't, to be fair. But yeah, it's a long time ago now.
I mean, you've probably all heard this story. I mean, when people mention the name John Towe Senior to me, I remember this big guy, almost frightening figure, coming from the steward's room and giving me a right bollocking one day. It was Manchester, the old Droylsden. I closed Droylsden down. and it was Boxing Day, 1987. I know you all don't think I'm old enough, but yeah, it was Boxing Day, and I was commentating at Droylsden, and I took my little black and white portable telly to watch the King George at Kempton, Desert Orchid. And there were a few bookmakers there, and they'd been betting on the King George, and there was no telly in the bar, so I thought, I'm going to do a commentary here on the King George. Desert Orchid from Nupsala, they're jumping the fourth last. Desert Orchid pins 4 out, but Nupsala ranging alongside. Now they're turning into the straight. 3 to jump, Desert Orchid and Nupsala. And your dad stood at the bottom of the ladder, looked up to me and shouted at the top of his voice, "This is Droylsden, not bloody Kempton Park." And I had to stop. He frightened the living daylights out of me. And the best bit was, I had bookmakers at the end of the day saying, "What happened? Who won the King George?" You know? He sent the fear of God at me. He did. But no, good guy. Fond memories. Do you remember Droylsden, John?
Yes. Yeah. I did work a few round there, but I can remember going. That I can do.
Yeah.
But I wasn't old enough to drive in a race around there.
Right, guys. We've spoken about Saturday. Let's move on to Sunday. Corbiewood and Tia Prince. Sarah, do you want to talk about Corbiewood first, Sunday?
Yes. I would go through the cards.
Well, you don't have to. Just give us a couple of horses to watch out for.
It's a good job I don't have to, because the elephant in the room is that the card has not yet been finalised. Which, I mean, I could have avoided mentioning that, but I'm as well talking about it now, because I'm going to have to bring it up on Sunday on the Chico and Sarah show. We don't have an official start sheet for Corbiewood yet, unfortunately. Work in progress, I understand. Unfortunately, depending on which way the official start sheet goes, we could have a number of non-runners in one of the races that would render it a 3-horse race with a handicap, one of the heats. So I can't really talk about that particular race or the couple of races, because the way that the races might change is actually going to have an impact, I think, on the way the races will go. The first race, the first heat, is the biggest handicap final in the UK this year. It's 700 to the winner, but it's 1,050 purse. Heat 1, I think, remains largely unchanged either way. I've actually got a runner on Sunday. I got so fed up of watching everybody else race and have fun this year that I went out and bought a horse last weekend. So I have a horse this weekend racing, hence why I'll be at Corbiewood, not Tia Prince. I don't have...
What's the identity of the horse? Can we have the name of the horse, please?
You can. It's called for Jiggle.
Right. Oh, you bought Jiggle.
Jiggle. I bought a grey horse against my better judgment, because I've had a grey horse before and it was a nightmare. But I've now got another one. Thankfully, he's slightly darker grey, so it might be easy to keep clean. I wouldn't necessarily say he's in with a massive chance on Sunday. He is drawn 1 in his heat, but he does come in off the back of some pretty bad form at York. A couple of issues with getting away at the start. So he's much like the Corbiewood card. He is a work in progress. There's a lot of gate speed in that race as well. A couple of horses. She's Treacherous has had 2 recent wins at Corbiewood, and Bayrig Millionaire's a fast gate horse at Corbiewood, and the driver, I think, it has a tendency to put the horse forward in the early part of the race as well. So there will be a kind of a speed battle there, I'd imagine. I'm not sure my horse will be involved in it. Whether that means he's got a chance at the finish to kind of pick them up, I don't know. Of the heats, the 4th heat, which is the high grade heat, which will remain unchanged. There's 8 horses face a starter in that one, and I think it's a really competitive race. You've got the likes of Bobby Camden coming up from York. He's put in 2, I think his last run was a sub 2-minute performance, as well as the week that he won. And Air Paparazzi returns to Corbiewood as well, having been absolutely slated by Chico and me last week for deserting us to head to Tia Prince. Joseph Riley has actually come back with his tail between his legs and brought Air Paparazzi back to Corbiewood. So although he is drawn 5, so he's not seeing the gate, following Better by Best, who's quite a quick starter. She's a mare that can get out the gate quite quickly. She's trained at Corbiewood as well, so she's a bit of a track specialist in that regard. Even though he is drawn 5, I think possibly Air Paparazzi, even in that competitive race, for me is likely winner. I think I have to say that, because I have just accused Joseph of coming back with his tail between his legs, so I need to be nice as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see it. The final then reverts back to handicap trails. So I would imagine that the winner is probably going to come off one of the kind of lower grade horses, whether it's a grade 1 or a grade 2. Those higher class horses have got too much to overcome possibly in the final, because those gate horses are capable of putting in maybe 2.5, 2.6 miles, and is too much of a trail to overcome. But the heats certainly look very competitive, depending on which way the card goes. We've either got a 6 or 7 horse race or a 3 horse race, which is a bit unfortunate, but these things happen. There's always drama in harness racing, and unfortunately, it seems to happen mostly at Corbiewood. Richard and James will know that as much as anybody else. There always seems to be something going on at Corbiewood. But look, it's a good card, and I'm looking forward to going there. You know, I made the choice over Tier Prince because I had a horse on, but equally comparing the cards, personally for me, with it being on my doorstep, Corbiewood would seem like the better option this weekend for me.
Okay. Now, Tier Prince on Sunday. First race is at 4:30. James and Richard, you're both still in action at Tier Prince, I believe? Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. First race in the card, Richard, Jackson Hall. Set to face the starter still?
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah. And just tell us about chances on Sunday.
Probably draw's not ideal, but I think he's been one of my favourite winners of the year this year when he won that day. He's been a maiden for 2 years now, and he's had numerous problems. And I didn't even realise he'd been training this year until sort of Scott and Sally brought him to the track about a month before he raced. I was quite surprised to see him there, and then never really factored in my mind too much. His first run of the year, I made an absolute cock up of it. Led out from John 5, went a 28 first quarter, and well, for a first run, that's a big no-no for a start. Second time he ran, I thought I'd do the opposite and sat him in behind, and he finished really well. So I came off and said to Sally, I said, this horse gets a good draw, he'll be somewhere near. Week after he draws one, led out, went all the way, won nicely. Last week was his next run back after he won, and went faster again. So I'd say he's definitely improving. Not be too far away, I don't think.
Now you said you mentioned Sally there. I mean, you know, you've struck up a really good working relationship with the stable with Sally. Do you get across there to work the horses out at any time during the week?
No. Most of their workouts, the big workouts done at York on a weekend, so I just go for that.
But you know, Sally's been one of the top trainers for many years now here in lovely horses over the years.
Yes, she had numerous top horses over the last 6-7 years, like from Cloudburst as a 2-year-old right through to Miraculous, Passion, so numerous ones.
Moving on to race 2, guys. It's the first heat of the revamped Tier Prince Star Maker for this year. James, you're set to partner Bella Beauty.
Yeah, she's a horse. She's one of them horses that I'm fairly sure I know she's a lot better than she's actually ever shown, and I'm waiting for the day where something just always seems to go wrong from last year right through to this year, and I'm waiting for the day when everything just drops and we hit the line strong one day in front, and I think she'll go on to be a good little filly. She's tough, and just a case of either I've made mistakes or she's made mistakes on different days and nothing's clicked. So I hope if she puts her best foot forward Sunday, she's half a chance. It's Spingle Miss Kate. She looked a nice filly when she was younger. She changed stables to Murdoch's, obviously, and that's never a bad thing. She could be anything, so and then there's quite a few outside. On her form, you wouldn't pick her at all, but I do really like the filly, and if she can just come and show on the track what she shows at home and what she's shown glimpses of, I think she should run well.
That's Bella Beauty in the Star Maker heat. And then we're moving on to the trot, 1.5 miles. Richard, you're set to partner Falcon de Melleray here off a 10-yard trail.
Yeah, he's not run for probably 3-4 weeks now. Coming back off a bit of a layoff. It'd be better for the run, and probably prefer if it was a little bit. 1.5 miles probably his minimum, but I don't think we're too far away in that. Again, Murdoch's have Eliothrop in it, which when he was over here as a 3-4-year-old, he was always one of the top ones. Yeah, our Black Williams, he's been winning down Amman Valley, so decent race.
And then on to race 4, James. Tell me about the chances of Reed Sequin.
Yeah, she ran really well at York last week. I think she was unlucky. She would Gilviers, or she'd be stunning. She deserved to win, but thought she ran a really good second, and probably if I'd driven a bit better, she maybe would have had a better chance. But she ran a big race last week, and if she can bring that again this week, she got close to a couple. She's a grade 1, it goes right to grade 3. Some of them grade 3 horses probably a bit more experience than her, but if she runs like she did last week, I'd be happy, and hopefully she'll be somewhere near.
And then on to the other Star Maker race, lads. You're both involved here. We've spoken about Plan B. We've got Miraculous in the field. Only 5 on the Gator seat in these races. First of all, James, Plan B.
Yeah, it's actually first time for a long time he's been on gate. Actually, he was on gate a few weeks ago at York, but we were drawn 5, so that didn't end too well. It's the first time he's had something like a decent draw. Lately, he's been learning to run from off the pace, which he's never done before. I'm just hoping he don't see gate for a change and throw a wobbler about it. But hopefully, if he gets away, his last 2 starts have been very good. So I hope he could run up to that form again.
And your thoughts regarding Miraculous, Rich, from his position?
Again, not the best of draws. His last, I don't know, 4 or 5 runs, if you'd have seen my stopwatch when he came off, the clocks he's been going have been up there they've been brilliant. Like, so it's just the draws and the trips he gets to the races which really do cost him. Like, you'd almost say this is a bit of a step down in class to be in this race, but you had the likes of Plan B. I think Ring of Fire, he's got a 58 time next to his name, but I think it was somewhere near 57s when he went that time that day. He has a lot of work on to be passing these sort of horses, really. So it's all about the trip he gets in the race.
Yeah, it's funny, wasn't it? You say he's down in class, but he is and he isn't. You know, because those good horses are still there. Exactly,
like, and the ones that are like they are grade 5 and 7, but they can still run within a second of the times he can go. You see, so it's very, very difficult for him.
And Sarah, have you had a look at the Tier Prince card at all?
Not at all.
Not at all.
He doesn't care.
Look, Clearly, I've hardly looked at the York one because I thought James had more than one chance to get to the final. I haven't looked at the Tier Prince one at all. I think, look, even if I was going to Tier Prince, I probably wouldn't have. I'm very, very disorganised. I'm winging it all the time now. I just turn up and hope for the best.
Well, we know you haven't washed your hair. John, did you wash your hair?
Well, I haven't got any left much. It's easy, mine is.
Right, listen, guys. Going back to you lads, James and Richard, you know, we're talking about watching your mum and dad work over the years and the experience in harness racing. I know you've both travelled. Richard, didn't you spend some time in New Zealand several years ago?
I did, yes. Yeah.
And tell us about that experience. Where were you actually based?
Christchurch, New Zealand, with Tim Butt, who's Anthony Butt is his brother. He's a top-class driver. He's over in Ireland, 2015, I think it was, for the VDN. But Tim's won pretty much every Group 1 that's going down under. It was a great experience in my life, working with great horses, nice people, and a lovely place in the world. Like, and
it is just a wonderful way of life, isn't it, down there?
Lovely, yeah. It's suited me down to the ground, like, so it's just so laid back. I went to Australia as well, actually, but I do think I preferred New Zealand slightly more. Just the way of life, just nice.
And how would you compare their style of racing to ours?
Probably completely different, really. They race over a lot further distances. Obviously, the carts, the they're getting more like the American style now, but it's very different. It's all about position and time. I don't know. Yeah, it's different, but it's different.
It's different. And James, James, we've established it's different. Your experiences, because I know you've had one or two drives yourself there on that trip to the New Zealand Trotting Cup meeting. We had a bit of a ball, and you guys both had a spin.
Yeah, we probably weren't best prepared for them. We had a great time.
It's different, wouldn't you, James?
That's the trouble. It's just so different. But no, it's trouble is when you throw it in the middle of a holiday, your preparation's not always as it should be, is it? But it actually, I know, all jokes aside,
that's how I spent 4 months of it.
It doesn't help spending all night in the casino drinking and then driving the next day, does it? No, it doesn't. But I don't know if I'd have shaped any better if we'd have done it any different. Because what? Sorry. What, being sober?
Yeah, I don't think it would have helped. No, we weren't that bad, but it is actually. I know we joked about it. It's very different. Like you sort of trying to get into the right positions. They're not the positions we associate as the right position. They read the race so far in advance that they could be racing over a mile and a quarter, mile and a half, and them drivers are trying to get a position for the last half mile, but they're working on it well within the first half mile. It's very complex way of racing, and when you watch them and you watch the best drivers out there, it's an art form. It really is.
Some of the tracks obviously are bigger than what we're accustomed to, and they have bigger fields. And standing starts are still very, very popular there. I mean, how did you cope with the standing starts?
I think I only went in one,
right?
And I actually got away well, and I think it was favourite. And they said all you had to do was get it started and it'll win, but they were wrong. It didn't win. It was a great experience.
That wasn't it. Was that Ashburton?
It were, yeah.
Yeah. It's different.
Very different, yeah. Very different.
Great description.
Yeah. Right, Richard, you mentioned great experiences when you were in New Zealand. Talking of great experiences, how much did you enjoy Belgium last year?
I think I'm going to say Longner.
No, well, yeah, I mean, that's 2 years ago now. Longner was the start. Longner was a fantastic time, but Belgium, wasn't Belgium great?
Yeah, Belgium was good, yeah. Good
you
beer.
actually managed to finish the race, because I did say to you beforehand you would be cursed, because every time that I've been to one of those international drivers' weekends, the driver either gets disqualified or, in Andrew's case, doesn't start.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot of pressure on you, really. I mean, there was more pressure on me because I wasn't going to get to go again, but there was a lot of pressure on you. And I thought you did quite well.
Yeah. For the form didn't look great before the race, did it? But we did manage to finish without being disqualified. So yeah,
and considering you had very little assistance from your trainer either beforehand.
No warming up allowed apparently, and yeah, I wasn't even sure where I was going to go. So the horse was turned up. I sat on it, and away we went.
Oh, that's brilliant! Absolutely brilliant. And guys, James, you've made good contacts, down the years. I know you're quite chummy with Dexter Dunn. Is that right?
Yeah, we actually haven't spoken to him for a fair while now, but he was really good to us when we were in New Zealand. I think he got us a couple of them drives, and which were very good. At one point, I was sat in a bucket and he was gearing one of them up for me, which I thought I probably peaked at life when I best driver in the world harnessing up my horse for me. But he's like everyone out there, like Richard said, they just seem to be great people. But Dexter's one of them. He's a great person. Like when we went over, he'd do anything for you. He came and met us both in the bar several times, and with some good nights out. So just good company and nice people.
And Rich, you've worked in New Zealand. Would given the opportunity, would you go again?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. Life's a bit different now and a bit more responsibilities, but I'd love to be.
Well, you've got a
18, 9. Mortgage, yeah, that sort of thing. But yeah, I'd love to be 18, 19 again and be able to just go out there and not care too much,
And John, you've heard all this. I mean, listening to these guys and their experiences of harness racing around the around the globe. I mean, we've been at Vincennes. I'm sure you've been to other places. I mean, what are your aspirations? What could we, you know, 1 or 2 points, key points that we could take from abroad, the professional countries, and bring over here? What would you say? So one or 2 key points.
I don't know. Our racing is world class. Now with the live streaming, it's on time. Everything's spot on that. You know, the York and Turpin's coverage is fantastic. You know, we haven't really got a lot to find on the coverage. It's all there. You know, if we could get the prize money raised a bit, a few more owners in, more horses, it's all good, isn't it? Yeah. But our racing and driving.
And I think the things you put in place this year, Darren, with the declarations and the draws and that before, and the live stream we've got, I think they're massive leaps forward, like from my point of view.
Oh, they're fantastic. They make the card there beforehand, don't they?
Yeah. It's nice to see the horse's draw matches number.
Yeah, start from the position that.
Yeah, if you're an outside member of public looking to have a bet just on a random horse, and you back number 1 thinking it's drawn 1 and suddenly it's drawn 10, you feel like you've been robbed before the race even starts. I mean, that's a massive thing that our draws are done early in the week. And as from a driver's point of view, I know it's disappointing when you find out on a Tuesday you're drawn bad, but you've all week to get over it and come up with a plan.
Make a plan.
And then John, you know, going back to your role in STAGBI, I mean, you know, where do you see STAGBI going in the next few years? Are there any great plans? I mean, where do you see the business going?
We just carry on as we are. There are obviously a few ideas I've got kicking around in my mind with regards to forwarding the breed, promoting them after racing. We've obviously got the Mares series. That is fantastic. That's keeping those in work, and it's putting a hell of a good series on and a good final. You know, we need to keep promoting the breeding. You know, the figures, I won't say are worrying, but they are dropping a little bit. Well, then again, every form of racing is at the moment. But if we can get the numbers back up, that'll increase our horses.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, everything that's bred is world class, so they don't all make it to the track one way or another. But on paper, you could go to anywhere and look at our breeding, and it's worth buying.
Well, you know, the horses that have been winning and running really well in North America, great advertisement for British harness racing, for the breeding, for the training of those horses on this side of the pond. We've seen that this year. El Presidente, do you think there's promotion for Sarah because she hasn't dropped that trophy yet?
We'll give it time. Tomorrow, is it? No, 12:50 tomorrow.
Right.
Then she'll be all right.
Describe the trophy then, Sarah. It's glass.
I actually think it might be crystal. Well, how do you know if it's crystal or glass? What's the difference between crystal and glass?
Bang it on the table, you see what noise it makes.
No. Do I look like I was born yesterday, James? Don't try and trick me. Gwennon told me that I should fill this with wine and then drink my wine from it. But I don't have enough wine, is basically the problem there.
But you could definitely drink it, though.
Of course I could. Of course I could. So whoever wins this tomorrow, they can fill it, and I will help them drink it with, you know, obvious social distancing rules applying. I'll just get a really long straw. But the thing is, it's really heavy, actually. I don't know if that's because I've had more wine.
I'm getting worried now what you're shaking it about.
No, this is when Gwennon watches this, she's gonna be like, that trophy's never going to make it to York. This has got to get back into the box, in the bubble wrap. It's got to get into my car. It's got to get cleaned because I put fingerprints all over it. But isn't it a lovely trophy? Yeah. But next year, I'm going to put a request in now. John, you're the president. Please, will you get this back off the winning connections and keep it? Because I don't want it. It's the pressure that I've had to live under with this trophy in my house. And it's Ryan and Dave Lowther, I think, were responsible for getting the trophy. I deal with rugs. Rugs aren't breakable. You know, I can drop a rug. I can throw a rug across the backseat of my car and nothing's going to happen. That has been nothing but pressure. And whoever wins it tomorrow, take good care of it. But if you break it, great, because it wasn't me that did it.
Well, one of these lads will be hoping to get there.
Not an issue we'll have, James.
Negative vibes.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, listen, guys. It's you do realise you will have winners this weekend, because it is very, very lucky to be on the Sulky show. Apparently.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, usually.
Do you know which one, Darren? Just offhand.
Sorry.
Do you know which one, just offhand? So no.
I wish I did.
Does that also work for owners as well, Darren? Because this is the first weekend I've got a horse racing. So does the luck? Can we guarantee me a winner this weekend?
That's not fair though, because you're on every week.
I know, but I haven't had a horse racing every week though. Just the next couple of weeks of racing, I can be very lucky.
Oh, it's a year, but end of year.
Listen, guys, it's been great fun. It really has been great fun to have you all on the show tonight. Thanks to Richard. Thanks to Shannon. Thanks to El Presidente himself, John Towe and Sarah. And can I just say, have a great weekend and good luck.